In this video, I'm going to answer a question I've been asked frequently about copyright and what it takes to arrange the songs that you love. There's a lot to talk about, but before I get into it, why don't you hit subscribe? Smash that like button, smash it, and check out my Patreon. Don't check it out, join my Patreon. So a question that I've been asked over and over again by students and people commenting on my videos and people that I've interacted with on Facebook or through email is how, as an arranger, do I deal with copyright? Specifically, the rights to arrange and perform the songs that I and you love and love to arrange. We learn when we're in school or talking to more established arrangers that it's difficult to publish and release cover material as an arranger. So let's say I want to do an arrangement of All I Want for Christmas Is You, that you've got to somehow get Mariah Carey and whatever other songwriters worked on that song to give the thumbs up to you to be able to put out a cover of that song. And as an arranger, you know that when you go on YouTube and type in All I Want for Christmas Is You, and you see 100 or 1,000 covers of it, you know that all those people didn't contact Mariah Carey and ask if they could do it. So what gives? Here's what gives. Essentially, the record labels and Mariah Carey aren't really concerned with you. You're essentially producing a free commercial for Mariah Carey. Now, YouTube specifically has their own algorithm to figure out whether you're doing a cover and who should get the commercial money from that cover. So, for instance, I did a straight cover of Buddy Rich's version of Time Check by Don Menza. And YouTube recognized right away that I didn't own the rights to that piece. Now, I'm very clear on my videos who the original composer was, and that I'm just arranging it, and that it's a cover, and I'm not trying to pull one over or pretend like I wrote these pieces. So I wasn't offended, I just really didn't want them to take it down. But YouTube's policy is to not take down the video, but instead funnel whatever ad revenue would be shared with me, and instead send it off to the person that wrote the song. And I'm honestly fine with that. It doesn't bother me that Don Menza, hopefully, or perhaps whatever company owns the rights to Time Check, is getting the money for that piece. I didn't write it. And I would like to think that if somebody else covered one of my pieces and was making commercial revenue from it, that money would somehow come to me. If your main conduit for releasing music is YouTube, my advice to you is don't worry about it. But the advice kind of gets deeper than that. So if you are young as an arranger, now I don't mean young physically, you could be an 80-year-old woman and just interested in arranging and getting into it for the first time. I mean, young in our field, you've only been arranging for a little bit of time and you're still getting your skills together, you should be writing arrangements. I've talked to a lot of my private students about this. Your arrangement can only be as good as the song that you are arranging. If you're writing an original piece, you're essentially writing a tune and then arranging it. And there's no way around that. That's just, you know, the way that music works. So choosing a song that you already love, let's say you want to do a version of Days of Wine and Roses. Days of Wine and Roses is a great jazz tune, or American songbook tune, and you want to do it for big band. You're starting off with a great tune and then putting some big band stuff onto it. And you're kind of setting yourself up for success. There's a lot of good to be gained as a young arranger from choosing songs that you already like and arranging those songs. And you can look at my own arranging history. If you look up my albums, my first album that I did when I had only been arranging for a couple of years, it's called Weeknight Music. And every single thing I wrote on there was either an arrangement of a tune or a contrafact, meaning a piece that I wrote that used the chord changes from an existing song. So for me, with my background as a trumpeter, coming up with my own chord changes was kind of a step too far at that stage of my arranging journey. So by choosing songs that I already knew I liked, I was setting myself up for success when I was writing an arrangement for the entire band. And I really, really, really suggest that if you're a budding arranger, that you do exactly this for your first dozen or so arrangements. Choose songs that you like and arrange them. And don't worry about getting the rights. And this is, I can't stress this enough. Until you're going to record these pieces professionally and release them commercially, nobody cares that you've done the arrangement. So I can sit here and arrange, Beatles songs, something that I know is going to be off limits if I try to put out a commercial arrangement. I can sit here and write an arrangement of Let It Be for big band. And until I make a commercial recording of it, the Beatles don't give a hoot. That's cursing that gets by the censors. They don't care. Nobody cares until it's commercially available. If your arrangements are earning money, then the owners of that copyright are entitled to some of that money. But in the meantime, when you're not earning any money with your arrangements, there's no reason for you to be worried about that. And at the stage where you're just learning how to do arrangements, there's no money to be earned. So I don't know where to do this. Second of all, if you're a medium successful arranger, that's where I am, I think. Like I haven't completely broken through. I'd like to, but I'm still working on it. They still don't care. But a lot of my work comes from vocalists or artists that hire me to arrange songs that they want to sing in whatever style they're going to perform. And honestly, when they hire me to do an arrangement of a song, the copyright issue is not my problem. That's their problem. They're the ones that are going to be putting out the commercial product. And in that case, there are systems for getting the rights to do that. If you're distributing through a service like DistroKid, they have a flat fee that you pay when you're doing a cover. And doing a jazz standard or an American songbook song, unless it's in public domain, it's considered a cover, even though we think of a cover as a separate thing in jazz. But if you're doing a song that exists, it's a cover, and DistroKid handles it for a flat fee. If you're not using a service like that, you go, I forget the name of the service, but it used to be Harry Fox Agency. When I put out weeknight music, my first CD that had all those covers on it, I had to pay Harry Fox. And that had to do with, you would let them know how many copies of the CD you were printing, and then you paid a flat amount for how many times you were using that song. And with the 1,000 CDs that I made of that, I had to pay a couple $100 for each of those songs that I had on there. And that was just part of the cost of putting out a commercial recording that included covers. For all the covers that I've released commercially, there are probably 10 times as many that I haven't, that I've written for clients or written for myself and not recorded for a variety of reasons. And nobody is ever going to care whether I've paid for the rights for those or not, because until they're released commercially, it doesn't matter. So that's my answer. My answer to you is, if music moves you and you want to do a big band version of it, do it. Write that darn thing, get all of your friends excited about performing it, play it live, and if you ever get to the point of wanting to record it, deal with it then. But in the meantime, let inspiration drive you, and don't worry about this other nonsense. So with that bit of uplifting tomfoolery, that'll be it for this time. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit subscribe, and in the meantime, I'll catch you later. All right, goodbye.